10 behaviors of victims of mental abuse by narcissists. Hearing from others who have survived the onslaught of mental abuse from a narcissist can provide you insight into how to handle your own circumstance. Such conduct could harm your prospects of achieving love and emotional fulfillment. A person's conduct may shift for any number of reasons. Emotional highs and lows are a reflection of people's behavior. However, one's behavior may be improved upon in the same way that any other part of one's life can be. Changes in conduct are the most obvious and deleterious consequence of psychological stress. In this video, I discuss some of the signs that victims of narcissistic abuse may exhibit. Number 1. Depression and anxiety. Do you know someone who just never seems to get over their constant worry and sadness? How much time and effort did you spend into checking in on them to make sure everything was all right? In other words, what appears to be the issue? It's possible the narcissist is mentally abusing this person. Being the focus of relentless criticism wears one down. This isn't as fast as the recovery time for a bruise that has been treated with cold packs. Abuse on the mental plane creates deep, permanent wounds. Verbal abuse, which can be subtle but devastating, usually occurs when the offender is someone the victim often interacts with or cannot avoid. If you expect to be abused in the future, you can't expect to feel upbeat and happy. Not anything close to that has happened as of yet. To put it more accurately, it makes individuals feel so hopeless and helpless that death by suicide becomes an attractive alternative. What will happen next is a mystery. Seek medical attention if this occurs. 2. Obedient issue. When one's actions are in line with what other people want or expect, compliance means doing no more than is strictly necessary. Obedience is a state of mind in which one always chooses to comply with a command, even though doing so would be contrary to one's values or principles. Compromising means agreeing to do something you'd rather avoid. Those who have been the recipients of mental abuse typically respond by becoming exceedingly stubborn in order to forestall any further harm. They may also place a high emphasis on their relationships with the abuser and or others. 3. Extreme self-doubt and an inability to trust one's own judgment. Anyone who has experienced mental abuse firsthand can attest to the destructive consequences it may have. Because of this, the victim feels humiliated. They appear weak and defenseless in this depiction. Many people who have experienced trauma don't talk about it for fear of ridicule or isolation. That's hardly the impression anyone wants to make, of course. Despite their greatest attempts, victims are consistently shown as helpless and vulnerable. As a form of psychological warfare, abusers often remind their victims of who they are. Hearing such nasty comments on a regular basis will cause serious psychological harm. The damage to trust caused by this will be significant. 4. They are emotionally unstable and unable to regulate their behavior. The human brain is the body's control center. It exerts total control over the person. The first step before doing anything is to do this. It receives information, analyzes it, and then determines what to do next. The victim's ability to keep their faculties under control erodes as a result of mental abuse, and the body's many systems revolt as a result. The affected person can no longer regulate their own feelings, wants, and urges. Without serious repercussions, moderation is a necessity that cannot be ignored. It causes people to say and do things they would later come to regret. 5. Irrationality, the propensity to act or react without sufficient reason. Displaying extreme displays of emotion, such as hysteria or oversensitivity. Victims of psychopaths lose the ability to reason. Their victims are taught erroneous ideas that aren't always damaging or biased. According to this view, victims are completely expendable. Because of this, the victims end up thinking and acting in ways that aren't correct. When you are falsely accused of or judged negatively for something you did not do or did not have, it is normal to feel intimidated. Number 6. Gloom and despondency. Is there someone in your life who just never seems to have a good attitude? Is there such a thing as a person who doesn't care about anything other than staying alive? Someone who is so worried about himself and the world that they are almost at the brink of despair. A person who has suffered mental abuse may lose faith in oneself and their ability to cope with future challenges. A pessimist views the past, the present, and the future with pessimism. They anticipate the worst and are less optimistic. Negativity toward the future is thought to be intentional. Defeat is one outcome of mental maltreatment. Depression is the only appropriate emotional response to this kind of debasement. Having lost faith in yourself, you may begin to feel unworthy of happiness, taking every precaution possible to protect yourself from harm. 7. Unproductiveness. A victim of mental abuse will eventually lose interest in even the things they once enjoyed. Despite having access to every available tool, they continue to make little progress. They know what must be done, and they know they have the ability to accomplish it, but they don't want to do it. They have learned to always expect the worst because of the treatment they receive from narcissists. So, a negative view on life, especially if you believe that no one values your efforts, is toxic to your pursuit of meaningful accomplishment. Number 8. They lose all sense of responsibility and safety. In psychology, recklessness is defined as a flagrant disregard for one's own or other people's safety. Victims of mental abuse are more prone to making rash choices under pressure, which can lead to a destructive cycle of codependence with their abuser. Reason for this is that abusers frequently place their victims in stressful environments, both physically and mentally. Taking matters into one's own hands almost always results in a worsening of the situation, creating a catch-22. They will become careless or unable to make good decisions as a result of the emotional and psychological torment they have undergone. 9. Resentful. Negative words or thoughts thrown at you with malice are upsetting. It is understandable for the abused to feel resentment toward their abuser after witnessing or experiencing their harsh actions. When abused people think back on the terrible things that happened to them, they often become filled with resentment and a need for revenge. Especially for narcissists who appear empathetic, the time will come to demand retribution, exact vengeance, and justify one's horrific experience. If you've been on the receiving end of a narcissist's demands for special treatment, you've probably had enough. Because of this, you're set on bringing them to their knees and stripping them of any power. Unintentionally, victims vent their frustrations on those around them rather on the narcissist, who they know will not change their behavior. 10. Unsettled. Those who have suffered emotional abuse at the hands of a narcissist are notoriously difficult to empathize with. They behave properly because they are afraid of the narcissists. Unsettling characteristics, such as showing signs of tension or restlessness. Victims have trouble remaining seated. People are too distracted to do anything for very long. Anxiety or stress about something that isn't a real threat may be the cause of their fidgeting. Nail biting, foot tapping, and tapping fingers on a tabletop are all practices that can help people with anxiety. You or someone you know may have had or be experiencing narcissistic mental abuse. Most people who escape emotional or psychological abuse report altering their behavior as a result. Victims' recovery may be aided by their capacity to make the aforementioned behavioral changes. If you want excellent results, consulting an expert is a good idea. If you got something out of this video, like and subscribe. If you find this information to be true, I encourage you to watch my other films regarding narcissists. This is the 9 signs that a narcissist likes you and wants to have you. Hoovering is a form of emotional abuse and blackmail that a narcissist may employ if they feel they are losing power and control over you. Hoovering is the practice of devouring something quickly and greedily. That is just another attempt to get you back into their abuse so they may continue to use you. Their self-centered viewpoint is that you broke up with them because they stopped caring about you after the honeymoon phase. It's all too common for unpleasant behavior to follow a good initial meeting. How do you recognize the indicators that your energy is being progressively drained by a narcissist? Continue watching until the conclusion, and I'll reveal the 9 telltale signals a narcissist is exploiting you. First and foremost, narcissists carry on as if nothing has changed. It's possible for the narcissist to hover over the victim by suddenly reaching out to them. Any communication that sounds too wistful or too kind to be true should be investigated further. Spend your time thinking about them instead of trying to solve the enigma. They'll have a talk with you on how to ignore what's happening and carry on as usual. Sending you an amusing note or giving you a call to see how your day is going are 2 examples. Former partners of narcissists may approach you at work with comments like, "I missed the old days when you used to take me home on your breaks and bring me coffee," or something to that effect. Another instance is the unexpected gift of flowers. Never willing to take responsibility or make amends for their actions, narcissists are a defining characteristic of the disorder. They can opt to carry on as if nothing bad ever happened. All of this is just an act to keep up with their many admirers on social media. They're also trying to trick you into thinking your relationship hasn't ended. Second, narcissists are notorious for apologizing despite never truly meaning it. Keep in mind that narcissists can never truly change. Give it some serious thinking to make sure they are truly sorry and repentant before you decide to forgive them and give them another chance. There are undercurrents of dishonesty in this hoovering approach, but they are subtle and effective. If you want to see their reaction, you can try changing tack. If the narcissist becomes angry with you, it seems like they aren't truly remorseful. Narcissists are self-centered individuals who prioritize their wants and desires over those of others. Until these harmful practices no longer yield the desired results, they will continue unabated. You should be careful of people who pretend to be sorry. They really made a huge deal out of it. There goes yet another manipulation tactic. A sincere apology may go against human nature, yet it always leads to better behavior in the future. Stop worrying so much about your choices. For now, you get to do whatever you want. 3. Narcissists will promise you eternal love and devotion. Narcissists frequently resort to love bombing as a weapon. Express their affection by shings. For narcissists, the key to winning back your love is to bring out the good old days. Narcissists will magnify the relevance of these experiences by using their excessive love for themselves. They may have stated things such, "I could never find somebody better than you," or "No one else makes me feel the way you do." Perhaps grand, mushy gestures can help you relax. When they keep showing their love for you, they want you to cave in. Even after all this time, the false claims continue to be made. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they'll use the word love to play on your emotions and convince you to stay. Fourth, when using the love bombing tactic, narcissists will make promises they can't keep. They'll reassure you by making sweeping assertions. They might propose marriage, present you with a car, or invite you on a trip. There is no chance in hell they'll stick to their word. However, narcissists only have to account to themselves. For this reason, You can't trust them to maintain their word. There's no way to justify blaming them for how you've been feeling or acting. The promise is between them and no one else, including you. You should keep in mind that they were not designed with you in mind. The narcissist's actions are driven by their need to increase their dependence on you for as long as possible. Fifth, if they still can't reach you directly, they'll try to employ intermediaries. A narcissist will do everything it takes to get you back into their arms. One way is to show your parents how much they mean to you by staying in touch with them regularly and telling them how much you appreciate them. They will use your child to brag to their peers about how amazing you are and how much they miss you. You should be wary of this hoovering technique, in which they attempt to gain access to your personal information by contacting you through people you already know and trust. They might keep trying to shower you with love notes through middlemen. One possible explanation is that you have simply given up on making contact with them. 6. A narcissist might try to gain your pity by playing the victim. People that have a tendency toward narcissism tend to be dramatic. They mostly sit around feeling sorry for themselves. Experts at creating false emergencies and crises to get your attention and build rapport. It is common practice to fabricate or exaggerate a family death as a means of gaining sympathy. Narcissists' powerful emotions stem from their insatiable need for admiration and adulation. As much as they are fixated on you, they also need the spotlight. In most cases, they employ this tactic in an effort to capture your attention by substantially increasing your level of terror. False information and rumours are their specialty, which brings us to point number 7. Such thorough vacuuming will one day be used against you, but not today. Narcissists and other drama queens can now spread false rumours about you to their social circles. These people you once relied on are actively plotting your demise. They are trying to inspire you to action by disseminating false information about you and emphasizing your shortcomings. Try not to tell stories that make them the hero and you the villain. In your haste to right the ship, you're likely to just make matters more confusing. Narcissists act in this way to cut you off from your network of friends and family and push you further away from mainstream culture. They anticipate that you will seek their help again in the future. It's up to you to decide how to react to harsh comments made by others. It's fruitless exertion that leads nowhere. 8. Narcissists are masters of the gaslighting technique. Narcissists will try to make you believe that you are imagining things after they have smeared your reputation and made up accusations against you. In spite of my best efforts, I keep getting the impression that they are being ignored. Incredulous as it may sound, that appears to be the fact. Never mind the countless hours I spent on us. You tend to overanalyze everything that happens. How I treated you wasn't horrible by any means. That was, without a doubt, my best effort. They use gaslighting to get you to misinterpret what they've said because they don't want to take responsibility for their actions or care about how you feel about them. Your first impressions are almost always correct. Their claims are intentionally nonsensical because they are made with that knowledge. No critical evaluation of their claims or pausing for reflection is welcome. Get ready. They'll try to provoke you in whatever way they can. 9. They hurt themselves intentionally so that you'll trust them again. The most obvious evidence that a narcissist is trying to hoover you are threats of self-injury. When other forms of self-improvement have failed, a narcissist may threaten to hurt himself. If you don't give in to their demands, they'll hurt themselves, which is a threat meant to get you to cave in. If their calls and texts are ignored, some narcissists may even threaten suicide. Let's pretend for a second that you've concluded narcissists are in immediate danger. If this is the case, you should contact the nearest emergency services number immediately. Keep in mind that you can't be held accountable if someone damages or kills themselves after you did nothing to stop them. Recognize their own sense of importance. They are experts at manipulating your emotions into a permanent commitment to them. Do not forget that narcissists are the ones that invariably wind up hurting other people. The greatest method to get some distance and perspective is to step back and take an objective look at oneself from the outside. If you pay closely, you can notice that the narcissist is employing hoovering techniques to get what they want out of the relationship. Click the like and subscribe buttons if you found this video helpful. You'd have my undying gratitude. If you believe this information is correct, you should check my previous videos regarding narcissists. To defeat the narcissist. Among the people you meet in life, narcissists will be the most jealous and envious. Moving on and finding happiness without the narcissist in it is the worst thing you can do to them, because they will be filled with envy. Narcissists can never find happiness on their own. While some narcissists may be financially secure and professionally accomplished, this is never enough to satisfy their insatiable need for adulation. Narcissists get their needs met by making other people suffer. Having someone else's sadness validate the narcissist's own feelings of isolation may provide some comfort. Remember that narcissists try to make everyone else's life as miserable as possible, and that the phrase "misery loves company" perfectly defines narcissists. Keep in mind that your mental and emotional well-being is much more crucial. Since narcissists can easily tell whether you are hurt, holding on to resentment, and open to forgiveness if you are to become desirable to them again. Keep your distance from narcissists and flying monkeys, as they will do everything in their power to keep you down. If you want to avoid the narcissist, you need to stop talking to them and their followers. Having them around will slow down your healing process. However, that is contingent upon the extent of the narcissist's damage. You must keep your emotional equilibrium if you must deal with a narcissist, despite your best attempts to avoid doing so. One strategy for dealing with a narcissist is to treat them like air and walk right past them. The most effective strategy is to practice silence while keeping one's spirits up. The narcissist has a hard time understanding this. Narcissists seek out their victims in order to air their grievances with them over and over again. They expect positive results as a result of their hard work. They worry you've gone on without them and expect you to be in a worse position without them. They will feel good about themselves after the narcissist sees you can't win their game of tit for tat by focusing on them. They take sick pleasure in seeing you bring yourself down with your anger, resentment, and need for vengeance. There's no way out of this predicament if you hold on to your feelings of helplessness. On the flip side, if you have a pessimistic attitude toward life, you may attract more of the same. If you wish to improve your life after experiencing narcissistic abuse, you will need to make big changes to the way you think and feel, as well as your level of personal development. Always remember to be courageous in every aspect of your being. When narcissists see one of their past victims flourishing in life, it can bring up depressive feelings. Despite their outward expressions of happiness at your recovery, they may be holding anger towards you for the harm a narcissist has done to their relationship. Snuff out your inner flame. If you succeed despite their best efforts, they will become even more hostile. It will be devastating to them to learn that you've gone on to greater and better things. Treating a narcissist as though they don't exist or aren't important to you is a certain way to get on their bad side. You have likely caused them a great deal of mental anguish, which they may or may not show outwardly. At this time, the narcissist is likely to start poking about, looking for an opening. Reconciling with a narcissist can be dangerous. Therefore, if they don't apologize and confess they were wrong to treat you the way they did, you should lock the door and ignore them until they do. They'll throw a romantic curveball at you to make you feel better about giving up on them, but then they'll go right back to wrecking your life. A former narcissist who is aware of your progress should be avoided at all costs. You're valuable whether or not they acknowledge it. The success we have achieved is the source of narcissists' jealousy because it exposes their own inadequacy and the fact that they will never measure up to us in terms of quality or experience the depth of emotion that we are capable of. Defying the odds and thriving, in spite of narcissistic abuse, is the ultimate payback, so that the calm within you and the brightness within you are not extinguished. What I've said here should prove useful, I pray. I want to wish you a good week until we meet again. These are 3 things that hurt a narcissist more than anything else in the world. Hello, and welcome back to another of our video presentations. That's what I'd want to discuss today. Asking if a narcissist can be moved to tears. This is due to the fact that even narcissists experience emotions. They often take on the role of victim, offended party, etc., yet their sensitivity makes them vulnerable to the strikes that are inevitably aimed at them. Narcissists' fragile egos can be hurt by almost anything. There are some things that can only terrify a narcissist, while others can inflict considerable damage to their self-esteem. If the killer blow comes from someone the narcissist most admires, it will have a devastating effect. Challenges to the narcissist's pride and demand for control hurt them more than any other kind of pain, whether it be public or private. To rephrase, narcissists create their own unhappiness through lying, pretense, and insecurity. The following observations wouldn't be problematic if it weren't for that. Because they view themselves as indestructible, narcissists will demand payback the instant they hear your voice. The burden of suffering should fall solely on their shoulders. I've also seen that narcissism is increasingly being labelled as a mental disorder in today's society. What they really need from us is our compassion and understanding. The narcissist is clearly now using hypocritical behaviour, and they're dependent on our compassion to provide them another chance, so they're always vulnerable. Let's not dilly-dally though. Here are 3 certain ways to hurt a narcissist's feelings that I'll discuss. First, being scrapped and thrown out. When it comes to constructive criticism, narcissists have a very thin skin. They dread being alone because they require continuous approval from their friends and family. A narcissist can't make it without the help of others. It's getting harder and harder to break free of a narcissist's grasp once you've let yourself become enmeshed with them. Narcissists, empowered by the proliferation of social media and instant messaging, have created an online utopia in which they are showered with endless adulation. They are able to keep their connection strong despite the lack of physical contact that would be difficult for other people. Narcissists, on the other hand, can get all the satisfaction they need from the never-ending stream of online compliments they receive. For the time being, this will suffice to keep their watered-down imaginations and twisted concerns alive. The narcissist's second greatest dread is being exposed. Some of my ideas on this are discussed in my earlier film, so I won't repeat myself here. It's common knowledge, however, that narcissists care deeply about projecting a particular image and will tell numerous fibs to that end. The goal of the narcissist's existence is to give the impression that they are more interesting and successful than they actually are. There must be an unbearable pain as they see their entire world crumble. Being insulted is the third and final thing that will affect narcissists the most. Narcissists are self-aware enough to know the impact of their remarks on those around them. Certainly, they employ dishonest and manipulative techniques, such as words, to inflict harm on others. A narcissist, on the other hand, is easily hurt by constructive criticism. When dealing with narcissists, it is a crime to be totally forthright with them. This is a common occurrence, but any criticism of their constructed persona will be taken personally by them. It will become clear to you that narcissists are especially prone to insults because they are already so insecure and paranoid. Unfortunately, they always have some sort of defect. Unhappily, it's not great. Things don't seem good now that they've been exposed to the reality. They struggle to understand even the simplest concepts. At any rate, these are the three things that are most likely to have a negative effect on a narcissist. Several weaknesses of narcissists are evident. They are sneaky manipulators and frightened wimps in contrast. Seeing as how that's probably everything for today, I'll go ahead and call it a night. All of you